The Idea Exchange is on AM 1430 WBEV. You're tuned into your source for delicious recipes, helpful household hints, and clever tips that you can use every day. Call the show and offer up your own ideas. 920-885-4446. That's 920-885-4446. It's The Idea Exchange on AM 1430 WBEV. Here's your host, Brenda Murphy.
Good morning and welcome to the Idea Exchange. Today on AM 1430 WBEV, if you're listening to the radio, you can switch over to dailydodge.com on your computer, your smartphone, or your tablet, and you'll be able to watch the entire show as well as listen to it. I always start off every one of my Idea Exchange with bizarre holidays, and I usually try to find a recipe that goes with each of those. And you can always check out dailydodge.com, click on the recipe tab, and then you will find the bizarre holiday for today. Today is Daiquiri Day, so if you go to the recipe tab on dailydodge.com, you will find a recipe for best strawberry daiquiri. Now you can print that off from your computer, or you can just take down notes and put it on your own recipe cards if you want, so that you can use it for future fun gatherings with friends or family. A little bit of history about the daiquiri. It's a family of cocktails whose main ingredient is rum, citrus, which usually is limes, and sugar. And a man named Jennings Cox was an American engineer, and he supervised mining operations in the village of Daiquiri, which is just off the coast of Cuba. Now, this was way back in 1898 during the Spanish-American War. And every day after work, he and his employees would gather at the Venus Bar. One day, Cox decided to mix Bacardi, limes, and sugar, and he put that over a tall glass of ice, and they named the drink after the mines, and soon it became a staple in Havana. In 1909, it was introduced at the Army and Navy Club in Washington, D.C., and its popularity increased over the next few decades. And it was also the favorite drink of Ernest Hemingway and John F. Kennedy. Another food holiday today is Raspberry Cake Day. Now, as most of you know, raspberries, I think, is probably my favorite fruit, although today I might have to say watermelon is my favorite fruit, because we have Chef Chance coming in, and he does the best carvings of watermelon, which you will be able to see for yourself a little bit later on in the program. So I would say the best way today to celebrate Raspberry Cake Day is to make your own raspberry cake, or at least find some raspberries and enjoy those. And the other bizarre holiday, and this is truly a bizarre holiday, is that it's tongue rolling day. Now, the ability to roll your tongue with the lateral edges of the tongue upwards into a tube is something that not everybody can do. Popular belief says that this ability is the result of genetics inheritance. However, there's little evidence to support this theory anymore. The percentage of human population that has this skill ranges from 65 to about 81%, and more women than men can roll their tongue. I happen to be able to do that. I'm not sticking my tongue out at you, though. You can check that out in a mirror and see if you have that capabilities, because not everybody has those muscles that allow you to do that. Today on the show, I am going to do a summer travel theme. You know, we're a little bit more than halfway through summer vacation. You might have a vacation planned, a car trip. Maybe you're going to see relatives. Maybe you want to just check out some things in the state that are a little bit a ways away, or maybe you're going to a different state. And so I thought I would share some things that might spark some interest for you and your family. And I am going to give you a challenge right now to take the Tech-Free Travel Challenge. You know, when I was growing up, we took many family trips, and my children and I took trips as well as they were growing up. And back in the day, we did not have all the electronics with the smartphones and the DVD players in the vehicles and so on. So we had to kind of entertain ourselves. So my challenge to you is maybe take a car trip where you do the tech-free challenge and everybody puts their cell phones away. Now, I'm not saying don't take them because you might still need them in an emergency, or maybe you use your phone instead of a GPS to navigate your way from one place to another, or in case you would get lost, it's handy to have, or if you just have to use it for checking on your hotel reservations or things like that. But day to day and while you're in the car, everybody has to put their tech gadgets away so that you can do other fun things together. And if you've got a great tip or a great idea that you like to do on car trips, or maybe you're thinking back to car trips that you used to take when you were younger, you can email me, ideaexchange@goodkarmabrands.com, and then you can share your favorite car trip memory, or maybe something that you have done with your family that works well to make the whole entire process a little bit smoother. So if you stay tuned, I am going to show you ways that you can prep the car, traveling with kids and some things that you can do, and different ideas. And then at 10:05 we will have Chef Chance here to talk about some Blue Zones recipes that he is going to share with us and prepare. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
And now back to Brenda, live with the Idea Exchange.
And I do also want to mention that today's features at Walker's Family Restaurant, the soup and sandwich special is barbecued pork on a grilled bun, accompanied by a cup of homemade soup, and you can choose from chicken dumpling, minestrone, or the chef's choice. They also are featuring the A1 burger, cranberry pecan chicken salad, baked chicken, the old-fashioned hot sandwich where you can choose from roast beef, turkey, or meatloaf, grilled ham and potato pancakes, and of course you always want to save room for dessert at Walker's. Today's features are the blueberry Bavarian pie and the red, white, and blue shortcake. And you've probably heard it said that a stitch in time saves 9. Well, you can call Daniel Alt today at Ultimate Sewing Machine Repair to schedule your yearly cleaning and maintenance appointment. A well-maintained machine will relieve any tension and inspire you to sew right through the long days of summer. Daniel is celebrating 5 years in business, and he's trained to work on all makes and models. He provides top quality service, so make the ultimate decision and call Ultimate Sewing Machine Repair in Fox Lake. The phone number is 920-928-2858. It's so easy. And it's so easy to take a car trip with your family. First thing that you want to make sure that you do is prep your car. And of course, you want to make sure that you have enough windshield washer in the holder. I borrowed some things from a teammate, Thomas, because he's very prepared and has all kinds of things for his car. You want to have a tire iron. He also has just a small little shovel so that if you get stuck in the ditch, you can hopefully get yourself out. Also, you don't need this right now, but during the winter months, and it's probably good to just keep this in your car all year round tucked in the back so that you have an ice scraper when you need it once we get into those terrible winter weather days. And of course, jumper cables. He said apologize for the condition of the jumper cables. They're old, but they really work well, and so he always has those on hand. He had everything in a nice plastic flat tub. He also has work gloves. You want a few bungee cords. He also keeps a pair of warm wool socks, and inside the socks is a small radio so that he can keep up to date on weather. Also in the box he has flares, a hammer so that you can break the glass if you would need to get out of your vehicle, and then of course a flashlight, and you can think of other things that you might want to put in your emergency car care kit. You could put that in a duffel bag and just tuck it way back in the corner of your trunk so that you have it handy and so that you are prepared when you need it. You also want, if you're a mom, you need to have a mom's bag because you can keep that by your feet. Now these are just a few ideas. Extra plastic cups, you can use these for dividing up snacks, or the kids can keep their crayons in there and put it in the cup holder so that things are right around where they are sitting. A small first aid kit, you want to have those, and of course you want to make sure that you have wet wipes so that you can keep the kids neat and clean, and of course you'd want other kind of magical things in your Mary Poppins bag. One other thing is bounce. You can take a bounce sheet, tuck that under the front seat of the car, and it will make your car smell nice and fresh the whole entire time that you are traveling. So you want to make sure that you have just a couple of sheets of bounce. Now, I will be posting these things on our website, dailydodge.com, but I found a couple of websites where you can download those for free. For instance, Gas Buddy, if you're going on a long road trip, you maybe want to know where the best prices are for gasoline. You just download that app and you can check as you're coming into a new state or a different city and be able to find out where the best gas prices are. iExit will help you if you need a bite to eat and you aren't sure, you're in unfamiliar territory. Roadside America is fun because when it comes to tourist traps and oddities and roadside attractions, if you check out that website, now that one or that app is $2.99 to get that, but it reaches and has a wonderful database, so you can find out where the world's largest ball of yarn is, or the big fish that's in Wisconsin, where that's located, and all of those other fun things that it's fun to stop at just to take a break and to have your picture taken. So I think there's about 7 or 8 of these different apps. As I said, some are free, some you just have to pay a small fee for, but when you have them on hand, you'll be able to utilize those. And a couple more things. I didn't know about this trick until a couple of weeks ago. I've been traveling for many years on road trips and going to visit friends and relatives, but I'm not sure if you know how to know which lane you should be in when you're on the freeway. You know, there are those big, the big signs overhead, those big green signs that tell you, you know, the exit is coming up or whatever. If the exit is on the, or if the exit number is on the right side of that board, that means you need to be in the right-hand lane because your exit is going to be off to the right. If it's on the left-hand side of that information board, that means you have to get over to the left side and be in the left lane in order to exit properly. So just knowing that will save you a little bit extra hassle and headache. Maybe you already knew that, but I didn't know that until just a couple of weeks ago. So a fun tip to keep in mind, especially when you're traveling on those 4 and 6 lane highways and you're thinking, oh my gosh, do I need to be in I kind of stay middle lane most of the time, but this way you know in advance whether you have to get to the left or the right. And one other tip that I want to share with you before we take a break is your gas tank, I guess. You maybe know which side your gas tank is and where the gas cap is located, but if you are renting a car or renting a vehicle or driving someone else's vehicle, older cars will have this logo on the dashboard. And where the pump is, if it's on the right-hand side of the gas pump, the hose, that means your gas cap is on the right-hand side of your car. If the hose is on the left side, you will find that your gas cap is on the left side of your car. Now, newer cars have this sort of configuration on the dashboard, and there you see an arrow. Wherever the arrow is, that will tell you which side your gas can is, or your gas tank is on. So just an easy tip to remember, especially if you are in a rental car or borrowing someone else's car. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to share some tips and things that you can do when you're traveling with kids.
Now back to Brenda and the Idea Exchange.
And today's portion of the ID Exchange is called The Local Dish because we are doing live video with the show today. So if you aren't tuned in, head to dailydodge.com on your computer, your smartphone, or your tablet, and you can watch the show in its entirety. If you missed the first part, you can always catch up just by clicking the video tab at any time throughout the next day and into the future. I want to talk right now about how you can have fun with your kids when you are on vacation and taking a road trip, and that starts with their very own vacation journal. You just get a small 3-ring binder. What I did is a long time ago when my kids were small, I found this in an activity book where you just connect the dots to make the outline of the United States. Then I've colored in all the different states that I have been to. Haven't hit all of them, but I do plan on maybe making that a goal, trying to get to each state at some point in my life. And so you can have the kids color in, maybe use the same color for each trip that you go on, and you can date that down in the bottom. Then inside, you can have some lined paper so that they can journal, and then some plastic sleeves so that if you're putting some games or activities, they can pull those out and then keep them nice and neat and clean, and blank empty sleeves so that if they want to put in souvenirs, maybe slips or maps or postcards or things, they can keep that all organized. So once they have this connect the dots, they've got that completed, and then they can color that in. When my kids were younger, I borrowed my son's book because they each put together their own book. He did his own creative cover work, and then inside, as I mentioned, he colored in the different trips we took with one same color, and then did kind of a log on the bottom. He wrote, we went to Washington, D.C. after first grade, so he put Mark's journal by Mark and illustrated by Mark, so he had a few pictures. He wrote some of it, and then some he dictated to me. But then in third grade, a little bit further back, so we put in some of the brochures and things that he picked up, some of the pictures and places that we went. And then this was so fun to look back because he's in his 30s now, has a son of his own, but to see his spelling and just all the different details. This was his report on DC, and I noticed that in the back, he used that as a third grade report for social studies. So it's fun to look at the things that he thought was important. He put the 555 steps that we climbed up the Washington Monument and a lot of other details. And so this is a fun, easy way that kids can log their own details and create memories. And you can also do snack bags, and each one can have their own backpack or bag. National Geographic has some great books that kids can read and learn from. Brain Quest is another fun for car trips because all the questions and answers are right in here, and the kids can do the reading, and everyone can take turn being the leader for that, and they have them in all different age groups. You can also make a small package wrapping these gifts up in tissue paper, having some colored pencils, some crayons, and then various snacks, maybe a few little car games. So it can always be a lot of fun that's inexpensive and that the kids can work on throughout the car trip. You can give those, let them open up a package maybe every couple of hours into the trip so that they can have a lot of fun, and the anticipation of, oh, what am I going to open and what shape is this, also creates a little bit more excitement and a little bit interest. And you could also have a small flashlight that they opened up, so they each have their own flashlight, and lots of different ways that you can get creative. So again, if you've got some great ideas for car trips, maybe that you traveled with when you were young, you can certainly give us a call and the program tomorrow and share that with me, or you can email me and we will compile those and put them on dailydodge.com. I did have in, now let me see where my pages here. I also have some fun different car games that you can play with your family. Different things like let's see, which one is here? We used to play a license plate game where we would take the letters that were in the license plate. For instance, I remember one was KHF, and so we would make headlines out of the initials of the license plate. So that KHF became Katie Has Friends. My middle daughter's name is Katie, and so we'd create different headlines using just the letters that we would see in the license plate ahead of us. But you can play license plate bingo to see how many different license plates you can find from all over the United States. You can play bury the cow. If you're out in the country, you count the number of cows on your side of the road, but if you drive past a cemetery, then all the number of points that you scored with those cows get buried and you have to start over. So that's a fun way if you're not on the super highways or the freeways to just have some fun. When we were little, we used to play Zit Zit Oopazit. I don't know how we got that name, but you would say zit zit every time you saw a cow, and when you saw a cemetery, you said Oopazit. We didn't keep track or points or anything. And I also remember that we used to hold our breath every time we drove past a cemetery. I don't know if anybody else did that, but we would all take just a huge breath in the car, all 6 of us, and then we would just see if we could hold our breath until we got all the way past the cemetery. And some were quite long. We also played a game called, oh no, what was it called? Every time we saw a Volkswagen Beetle, it was called Slug Bug, that's what it's called. Chef Chance helped me out with that one, where you just kind of tap the person sitting next to your shoulder. We had to make sure that my brothers didn't get too carried away with that and hit us harder than we should have. But
we do have a caller, Brenda.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Can I tell you about a church rummage sale?
If you could give that information to John, he'll take that off the air and we'll make sure that we announce it tomorrow, okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay, all right. If you have something that pertains to a question for Chef Chance when he comes on, you can certainly call that, or if you have a tip or a fun thing that you want to share about your own travels, you can do that as well. And speaking of Chef Chance, he will be here at 10:05 and will be showcasing a good way for you to eat healthy and for it's a good summertime dish or really anytime dish. So that will be coming up in just a little while, so you want to make sure that you keep it right here. DailyDodge.com. If you aren't on that yet, you want to make sure that you tune in to DailyDodge.com. You can always pick us up on AM 1430 WBEV, but today, a couple times a month, we do the a local dish broadcasting where you can watch the whole entire thing live. So these are just a few ideas that you might want to try if you're going to be taking a summer car trip. And again, you can I challenge you to do the tech-free travel challenge. Try to go a distance without having the kids have to use those electronics, and you can bond a little bit better and have a little bit more fun. So so that's about it for my portion.
Brenda, you were talking about the perfect road vehicle to use on road trips and slug bugs.
Slug bugs.
So how perfect would be a VW bus on a road trip?
That is amazing. Oh my goodness. That is incredible. And you know, of course, Chef Chance is very well known for his watermelon carvings, and we'll be showing you a little bit more of those. That is just too super cool. Amazing, Chef Chance. You do just such great carvings. What a great tie-in for the summer road trip. When we come back after the news, Chef Chance will be here to showcase a bruschetta. Is that how you say it? Bruschetta?
Pretty close.
Pretty close. Close enough. Okay, we'll send it back to John Kraft and be back after the news.
Now we go back to Brenda and the Idea Exchange.
And I hope you are enjoying this local dish version of the Idea Exchange. Right now, the fun part begins because it is time to introduce Chef Chance from the Juneau Community Center. Welcome, Chef Chance.
Welcome.
It's so good to have you here.
Thank you very much. It's so nice to be here.
And I know that my segment was on summer travel, and thank you so much for that great surprise of that watermelon with the RV bus, the Beetle, the VW bus.
My pleasure.
Just so cool. All of your watermelon creations are so cool.
You got me blushing like the color of the watermelon right now. I appreciate that.
I mean, even the backside, which people don't see, is amazing. So all of the detail that
was the hardest part.
Is that right? I would have thought doing the sketch of the van would have been the hardest part with the most detail. I know you recently went on a family vacation, didn't you?
That's very true. A road trip. We did about 16, almost 1,700 miles with 3 young kids. Hi, Talia, Mata, and Davrin, and my wife, Livia, by the way. So yes, we went to Niagara Falls. So that was quite an adventure. So yes, I could have used some of these tips that she had a little bit ago. So.
But you probably did not go tech free. You probably had the movies in the back to keep the kids entertained, right?
You are completely correct. We actually went and bought one just because of the trip.
And it worked?
Oh, it was very nice, but a tech-free vacation would be very nice right now because there's too many people with cell phones and out of touch with their own kids actually on road trips. So I totally agree with your tech-free vacation. That's kind of a cool
It would be
idea.
a fun challenge just to try, just to see if you could get through 6 hours even, you know, if you're heading up north or something, just to try that so that you can have more fun as a family, just learning things or playing different games or singing songs. If you like to sing, you could teach
Singing songs, that's a whole other thing to ask my crew at my job. I should not be singing, trust me, but I do it all the time.
Now, what are you going to be making for us today?
Today, I want to do something a little bit healthier. So I do work with the Blue Zones project very, very often. So I totally agree with the whole healthy aspect of things. So I created this dish just for them, actually. It's called sweet potato bruschetta. Bruschetta, as most people do pronounce it, bruschetta, but there is 2 different pronunciations. It derives from the word bruschere, to roast over open coals. So that hence the name bruschetta, and a lot of people won't be able to pronounce it like that.
Yeah, let me try it. Bruschetta. Is that better?
High five.
All right.
Don't worry, I'll change gloves too.
Okay, so you got involved with Blue Zones early on when they first started?
Yeah, even way before they even became positive.
Because Juneau is one of the Blue Zones communities in Dutch County, correct?
Out of the 4, yes. So.
And so when you are looking at healthier type recipes, are there certain foods that you gravitate to more that work well? You cook for crowds, many, you know, most of the all the time actually. So are there things that work better when cooking for a large amount of people as opposed to say someone who's watching this today and just cooking in their own home, or do they work out about the same?
If you can get the healthier aspect with a hint of sweetness on it, it helps a lot. That's what I've kind of found out. I do a lot of the CHIP program too. The CHIP program is something that most people don't even know about. It's take Blue Zones and times it by 80 because it's a completely vegan-based meal. I do a lot for John Deere, the CHIP program, which is unbelievable program that's helped a lot of people healthiness-wise. So I've been doing that since twice a week pretty much since September.
Okay.
So I've learned a lot of vegan meals lately. So.
And I know that you had once told me that the definition of the difference between a chef and a cook is that a chef does not use recipes, basically. I mean, there's a lot more to it
That's one of the
than that,
definitions, yes. A lot of chefs do use recipes, of course. A recipe is just a guideline, so you can take that recipe and make it your own. When I go through recipes, I have a collection of cookbooks. I just look at pictures, honestly. And then sometimes the ingredient list. On this Blue Zone recipe card, there's a little blurb on the bottom. It says the recipe amounts might vary because Chef Chance doesn't measure anything. Trust me, I can't even measure to put a picture on the wall.
And so you just do it by shaking and then testing and tasting until you get it right.
What kind of shaking are you talking about?
Yeah, that way you can stay healthy too, right? Getting that exercise around
It's
the
all
kitchen.
about color, the flavor, the taste, the smell. And the smell is another thing. When I'm cooking something, I use my smell a lot and then taste it at the end, and then I'll tweak it at the end too. So That's why it varies on the measurements of a lot of different things. So
Okay, so what you're going to be cooking today is the vegan sweet potato bruschetta.
very
Well,
good.
Close enough, I
I'm
guess.
proud of
That's
you.
so-
We've been dealing with this
If
a lot.
I say it enough times during the program today, I might have it by the end. And we need to take a quick break, but when we come back, you'll start us out with how to make this.
No problem.
All right.
Now back to Brenda and the Idea Exchange.
And we are doing the local dish with Chef Chance from the Juneau Community Center, if you're just joining us. And Chef Chance is going to prepare a vegan sweet potato bruschetta.
Man, I'm so proud of you
Okay.
pronouncing this correctly. Good job. Good
I'll
job.
say it every time I can here. So, how do we start?
Okay, first of all, you got to get some sweet potatoes or yams, whatever you want to call them. And then what I like to do is cut them right down to half, the long way. So you take them, cut them right down. And then I rub them with a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. You know, if you want to get away from the salt content, just don't add salt. So, and then roast them in the oven for roughly about 30 minutes. So just until that's about halfway to 3/4 of the way cooked, actually. So then you take them out of the oven and you can chill them. And then you're going to be roasting them in the oven. So they will be fully cooked. So in the meantime, when they're in the oven, you can make your mix. And then your mix, just grab a bowl and Roma tomatoes. You get them all freshly diced. And this is live TV, so we did this.
So we did this ahead of
yeah,
time,
we
right?
ahead of time. So get Roma tomatoes, throw them in there. Precise measurements, by the way, precise.
And Roma tomatoes for cooking because they're a little bit firmer. They
Correct.
dice up better.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. And a little bit sweeter on the flavor. It's a little bit better. Some fresh basil. This is all chiffonade. Chiffonade is just, you take your leaves, you roll them up, and you slice them as thin as possible. So you throw some fresh basil in it. And you can always tweak this at the end. So you can always add, you can't always subtract. Now, so the vegan aspect, traditionally a bruschetta has a Parmesan or an Asiago cheese. So I wanted something in there to make it vegan, of course, and white. That was a trick. So I came up with couscous. This is an Israeli couscous, so it's a little bit bigger of a couscous. And you cook that. There's a few different ways of cooking it. This one, we took some boiling water and took the couscous and just put the boiling water in there and covered it for about 5 minutes and then drained it and then chilled it. I actually shocked it. Takes a little bit of ice bath and then shocked it so it's quickly chilled. And then throw that in there. And you don't have to, but a little bit of salt goes a little bit a long way. And this is pepper. There's actually 7 different types of pepper in this blend. And then, of course, garlic. I'm a fan of garlic. Both the dishes I'm cooking for today have garlic. So, and then this is a 17. This is it's a product made by Lowry's. I use it a lot. It's a 17 blend that has no salt. So I try to stay away from the salt. That chip program that I mentioned, I don't cook anything with salt or sugar. So it's vegan plus no salt or sugar. So that's a whole different ballgame. Mm-hmm. So then you take this mix, and then you take some olive oil, throw it in, and then you can take a whisk or a spoon, but I like gloves. You mix it up. Gloves go up quicker, so when I'm cooking for thousands of people, it goes a lot quicker with your gloves than a spoon. So, you take this mix, and like you're seeing, I think personally it needs a little bit more basil. Throw a little bit more basil in it.
Again, right now you're kind of looking at the color
Exactly.
balance.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's got enough couscous, enough tomatoes. And then, I told you smell. I can actually smell this and make sure it's right. Perfect. So then, you take those sweet potatoes, they're 3/4 of the way cooked. You take them, you put them right on top. And then, not this plate or anything, but you can take the pan, throw it in the oven for another about 15 minutes or so, just until that the mixture becomes nice and hot, and then the potatoes are fully cooked. So in the meantime, do we have a commercial?
Yeah, we can take a quick commercial break, and when we come back through the magic of TV and video, we will have this all ready for presentation. We'll be back after this.
Now back to Brenda and the Idea Exchange.
Thank you very much, John. Well, we have our plated presentation. Why don't you tell us about it?
Straight out of the oven. So then we take that mix, take it out of the oven, and I always like to have a little bit of presentation to it, so we just add a little bit of purple kale on it. And you can always just add a little bit of fresh basil right on top. And then, honestly, if you don't like the whole vegan aspect, you can add cheese. I would recommend some Asiago cheese. It's got a little stinkiness to it, but when it's melted over the top, it's perfect. And then if you could take a whole nother level and add some prosciutto to it, it's a dry-aged cured ham. When I get it, it's imported from Italy. It's fantastic in this dish. So that's what I would totally recommend. And then you can take this recipe and make it your own, honestly.
It's beautifully presented, and you know, I think as Americans, we oftentimes put together a meal, we're in a hurry, so you just grab things in the kitchen and the pantry and you put a meal together, you put it on the table, and then everybody eats really fast, and you don't really even get to enjoy the food. But if you take the time to make something like this, which isn't difficult to do, doesn't take a whole lot of time, and make it pretty, make it presentable, I think everybody, when they sit down to the table, will eat more slowly. You have time for more conversation. And the best part, you can really enjoy the flavors and the taste of the food.
I 100% agree. You can actually take those phones and take it one step farther and no technology at the dinner table.
No tech at the table, right?
I love that rule in our house. I absolutely love it.
Well, now you are going to also make a pineapple salsa for us.
Correct.
So why don't we get started carving a pineapple? I know there's a couple of tricks. Before we start, though, maybe you could share, how do you know? I know with cantaloupe or muskmelon, you're supposed to push on the bottom spot and sniff it to see if you can smell the flavor of the melon, then you know it's ripe. Is that right?
You can do that way.
But what about a pineapple?
Pineapple, thank you to my recreation director, Gail Amsler. She taught me this a few years ago. All you have to do is test your leaves out of the pineapple. So if they pull out easily, it's nice and ripe. If they're hard to pull out, don't use it. It's not ripe yet. So just leave it in your cooler or on your counter for a little bit. So this one should be pretty good. I pulled them out easily. So I'm going to teach you a nice, easy way to cut up a pineapple. So this is a chef's knife. Best way. She's always scared when I get a knife in front of me. I have no idea why she's nervous. So, best way, this is what I do. I cut down the top, cut off the bottom, flip it over, maybe a little bit more off the top. So a nice yellow. And then you want to curve that knife around.
That way you're not losing the not the pulp. What
the
is
meat,
the pineapple meat, right?
So you want to keep as much as possible, of course, and make sure you get out of all that brown parts of the pineapple. And of course, TV, we don't have a garbage.
Yeah, I was just thinking that as you were slicing it, thinking,
and then you can take this and use it as a decoration of some sort, anywhere. I use them a lot, so I usually save all my pineapple ends. Not all of them, because I cook for thousands of people all the time, so that's a lot of pineapple ends.
You only need a few, right?
And I am not vacuuming afterwards, right?
No.
All right, Kale's going to do that for me.
You're not on cleanup duty, right?
So there's different ways to do this. Instead of going in the middle, like your core, all I'm doing is a fine dice. So just go about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 an inch straight down. You're going to take that a few different times, right up to the core. Flip it over, do that same thing.
Yes, because otherwise, when you try to cut that core out, if you cut it in half, then you're losing a lot of pineapple as well.
Correct. And then what I do is on the sides, I make 2 cuts, and I do that same thing. And try to leave it together so it's easier to dice. Flip it around, do that same thing. And then this is the best part of the pineapple. I'm going to save this for myself a little bit later so I can eat it. It is the best part. Sorry.
The sweetest and the juiciest, is it?
Exactly. So, and then this is your best route to dicing a pineapple. If you can't go this quick, I understand.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten down the part where you leave the tip on the cutting board and can just dice really fast.
Correct.
I have to practice that, but a pineapple would allow me to learn a lot quicker.
It's a push and pull method.
Yes.
So, see how quick that was to dice a whole pineapple? Not too bad, right, guys? You're going to take this, put that in a bowl. Okay.
Well, and you know, too, by doing it that way, when I just slice off, I usually kind of do straight lines, and so I don't get near as much pineapple as you do. You get a lot more pineapple by doing it that way.
You don't waste as much.
Right.
And when I'm doing a lot of people at one time, I want as much product as I can get,
That's right.
Okay, so then all I did was, these are actually proportion-wise, I'm not going to have the right amount. So what I'm going to do is take some pineapple out. I want them nice portion-wise. Black beans. You can make black beans. You can soak them and then cook them yourself and then chill them. Or you can just buy your canned black beans and then rinse them off and then throw them in your pineapple. Okay? Now, red onions. Quick dice. Throw that in there. I'm a fan of cilantro. I just found out cilantro, a lot of people think it tastes like soap.
I know, I've heard that too.
Isn't
I
that
love
odd?
it, but I don't see where they get that flavor.
When I was talking to two people, actually, just in the last 2 weeks, they both said that cilantro tastes like soap to them.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of homework, and sure enough, there's like a 5% of the population that cilantro tastes like soap. It's really bizarre to me. Yes. I love it, so I add a lot to it.
Yeah, not only does it smell great when you're preparing something, but it just adds a citrusy flavor and just a nice, bright freshness to whatever you're adding it to.
You are correct. So, when I make this, I add a little bit of pepper. And, of course, garlic.
Garlic, yes.
Okay. And then, I have a little trick for you, a pepper. I did wash this pepper ahead of time. A lot of people have a hard time cutting peppers. And I don't know why, because all you have to do is just like that pineapple, cut on the outside. You want to curve that knife, and make sure you take that sticker off first. You're left with really nothing left of the pepper and no seeds.
Yes,
You
that's
see that?
amazing.
And how quick that was?
Right.
And then you can dice them up, and same thing, but honestly, I already did that. So I like red pepper in there just because it adds a little pop of color, and hence the green or the red onions, same thing. It gives you a little bit more color to it. So then I have a juicer here. A little bit of lime. Got to have lime in it. You don't have to have a juicer. You can take this and juice it by hand if you like. That's what I normally do because I can never find my juicer in my kitchen.
But you came prepared today.
I did come prepared.
Yes.
Once in a while. Once in a while.
Well, we are coming down to the bottom of the hour, so we have to take a news break. But are all the ingredients assembled in there?
Pretty much.
Okay. When we come back, we'll show you the presentable pineapple salsa. And so keep it right here at dailydodge.com, AM 1430 WBEV. John will send it back to you.
Now back to Brenda and the Idea Exchange.
And welcome back. This is our local dish with Chef Chance today. And if you have been following along on dailydodge.com, you have seen the fantastic vegan sweet potato bruschetta that he made, which you can easily make as well. And then he showed us how to slice a pineapple, which I am definitely going to remember, and also the the peppers when you're slicing a pepper. I would always cut off the top and then with a spoon have to scoop out the seeds.
Takes too much time.
Yeah, that was amazing how quickly you could do that. No seeds, you can dice it right up and put it in whatever dish that you are making. So this is our final look at the pineapple salsa, and it smells delicious.
If you want, you can try it.
Can I? All
Yeah,
right.
You're more than welcome. So there is one thing that I did not tell you of what was in this dish, which some fresh jalapenos. You can put jalapenos in there and then give it a little bit of bite. So there is a little bit of fresh jalapenos in there. So what's all in there again is a little bit of a pineapple, of course, some peppers, red onions, some cilantro, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of pepper, and then the black beans, and then the jalapenos. And then one step farther, if you really want, you can put a little bit of mango, which is always a pleasure to work with. So you can change it up however you like. Like I said, once again, recipe is a guideline, so you can make it your own.
And that cilantro, I think, really helps finish off the flavors, kind of pulls everything together. It does not taste like soap. Cilantro does not taste like soap.
In my eyes, it does not, of course.
Now, you know, you're kind of known throughout the area, not only as a wonderful chef who can create magical things, but the magical things that you can do with a watermelon. So I thought it might be fun, since you brought two today to talk to us about, if you could just share how you got started carving watermelons. I think I asked you once, you know, people always carve pumpkins, but you took it another step and went with watermelons.
Well, I get asked a lot why if I carve pumpkins. I have done quite a few different pumpkins, but there's 4 reasonings why I like watermelon versus pumpkins. One, it's orange, orange, and orange with a pumpkin versus green, white, and red with a watermelon. And then the skin is a little bit more firm on a pumpkin, so I tend to cut myself a little bit more often on a pumpkin. And then there's ridges in a pumpkin versus a flat surface on the watermelon. And my number 1 reasoning for watermelons versus pumpkins, I can get watermelons all year round. I can only get them out of the quarter of the year for the pumpkins. So that's my number 1 reasoning.
They all make sense, yes.
Exactly. Now, how I got started, that's a real question that you asked. I was pretty young, and my grandmother, actually, God rest her soul, she went on a cruise to Germany, and she picked up a garnishing book from the trip, actually 2 of them. And this book is very special to me. So this is what she brought back, and in that book, there was this watermelon. I got goosebumps right now even thinking about this watermelon. This is why I started watermelon sculptures. I kept looking at this picture, and I wanted to do it so bad. And on Easter one day, or year, my sous chef carved a watermelon into a bunny. And honestly, George is a fantastic chef, great artist actually, but the bunny looked like Bullwinkle. So I thought I could do a little bit better, so I went and bought a watermelon that very next day, and I came up with this watermelon because I really wanted to do it. And still to this day, I have a whole picture collage of my watermelons, and that's on there, and everybody refers right back to my very first one. So I started, and I right now, to date, I don't know exact count, but it's roughly about 1,400 watermelon sculptures that I've done.
Wow.
Which is kind of ridiculous.
And so, you know, you didn't, like most people, pick out a pattern that was just a little bit of carving. You took something so detailed and so impressive. That is just amazing.
Thank you.
I'm sure you have a system of how you go about doing watermelons. First of all, do you look for certain size or a weight, or what determines the pick, how you select the watermelon?
I was actually at a Woodman's down in Sun Prairie just a few days ago, and these watermelons that you're seeing right here, I couldn't pass them up. They were the most perfect watermelons I've ever had the pleasure of carving, so I just grabbed them out and put them in the cart, and I didn't know what I was going to carve out of them, but I had to do something. So that's the first one I did, and last night I ended up at about 3 o'clock in the morning carving this one, the VW bus. Yeah, we'll get them together so it's a little bit better for you.
Whoops, yep.
So depends on what I'm doing. Like if I'm doing an Eiffel Tower, as there's a picture over here, I look for a little bit larger, longer watermelon, and that watermelon was absolutely humongous. Now there has been some specialty carvings that I've done. Kind of something special was the U.S. Open last year. I was honored to be the watermelon sculptures and one of the lead chefs for the U.S. Open. At the Open, I did 17 sculptures, and that was kind of an honor. And I had 5 watermelons specially grown for me, for my produce company. And those 5, I actually had about 25 total, but 5 of them were about 55 pounds each.
Wow.
So those were absolutely humongous. And one of them took me 15 and a half hours to carve. This one right here, I get asked all the time how long it takes me. This one is about 3.5 hours, almost 4 hours of carving, and this one was about 4 to 4.5. So that's,
And
yeah.
you never do sketches ahead of time, right? Do you just pick up the knife and start carving, or do you have to do a sketch out, like if somebody requests something specific?
If there's a special request, like this VW bus, I have to have a picture in front of me. If it's detailed like that, I look at a picture and I kind of outline it a little bit, but other than that, it's an X-Acto knife. That's another question I asked, what tools I use? Yeah. X-Acto knife, that's really about all I use. And then the finished product, I do have wood carving tools I use a lot. This one right here, all I did was pick the center where I wanted to start, and then I drew a circle around, and then for the leaves, I kind of just put dots with a pen, and then I just started hacking away pretty much, and that's what I came up with.
Now, the leaves that are on here,
Yep.
Are they from this watermelon?
It is. It's all one
You didn't
piece.
take it from another
Each
watermelon?
leaf is from this section out here. So each one is the remains from this section that I cut out. So it is all one piece.
And it's so beautiful and so detailed. It's just amazing and incredible, and how you can see with an artist's eye to keep the green and to have the white and the pink
That's
and,
the trickiest
and
part of the
deeper
whole
into the
process.
red. Yes, yeah. Very amazing. We need to take a quick break, but we'll be back with about 15 more minutes, 10 more minutes of the show with Chef Chance.
Now back to Brenda and the Idea Exchange with Chef Chance.
And we just have a few minutes left of the program today. But again, Chef Chance, I want to thank you for doing this wonderful VW bus to kind of coincide with my portion of the local dish this morning. Chef Chance brought in as a surprise the carved watermelon. I knew he was bringing one watermelon, but he brought in 2 of those. And it kind of tied in with our travel theme, going on car trips with your family, with your kids, and I shared some tips on how to do that. You can always go back if you missed the first part of the program. Just check out dailydodge.com, click on the video tab, and you'll be able to watch the entire show in its entirety if you want to take another look at how Chef Chance carved that pineapple so you can get that trick down exact, and how to, the easiest and best way to slice up a green pepper or a red pepper when you're adding that to your recipe. And the VW bus was just such a fun touch, and I know we talked a little bit about your vacation with your family. You went to Niagara Falls.
Correct.
And your children are how old?
Almost 5, just turned 3, and then almost 2, actually. Yes, 3 kids, pretty close together, pretty young.
Yeah.
And 1,600 miles later, it was an adventure.
And so did you pack snacks for them and things to do, or do you have a story that you can share about maybe something that eventful or fun that happened on the trip?
Well, my wife, oh man, she's a saint. She did pack all the snacks. I didn't pack
You didn't-
anything
you didn't
really.
have
I'm a last-minute packer, as you know. One little story. Niagara Falls, I highly recommend going. So we were on the boat to go right up to the falls, and I had my son in my arms, and then I had my oldest daughter right beside me. But then, of course, my almost 3-year-old, Mata, she got on a boat with water, and it was only a 10-minute ride up to the falls. And of course, she's almost 3, getting potty trained. She had to go to the restroom on the boat. So the boat leaves, and my wife, she went downstairs, go in the restroom, and I thought she was going to miss the whole falls. So she luckily made it in time. She came upstairs, and she's seen the glorious power of Niagara Falls. It's just unbelievable the power. That's the only word I can say
Right.
from Niagara Falls. Just the sheer power of that site is amazing. It really, truly is.
And you did not travel in a VW
I wish I did.
van, did
That's
you?
my ultimate goal.
I do want to mention to everyone to check out the really fine detail, and take a look at the license plate, if you will, on that particular carving, because Chef Chance, you always add in a lot of fun detail no matter what you're doing, whether it's a watermelon for yourself or if it's a specific request for someone. A lot of great detail in there.
A watermelon for myself. This is actually my only second one I've ever done for myself. I kind of did it for you,
Oh, right.
honestly, but it was something fun for me. I like VWs, and yes, the license plate does say chef on it, so I had to do a little something fun on it. And yeah.
And we have just a few minutes left, but I do want you to make sure that you give everyone your phone number, how to reach you in case they want to book the Juneau Community Center for maybe an event that they're having, or find out about your catering services and things like that.
The best way to get a hold of me is my new webpage. It's chefchance.com, and it is with an S at the end with my name, C-H-A-N-S-E. And then the telephone number is 386-2121. That is 920-386-2121. Or reach me on my email, of course. It's Entrees by Chef Chance. It's on the webpage, so I won't even go into that detail. But I do have to make one little plug. I hope you don't mind.
No.
My wife, thank goodness for her. I couldn't do anything without her. There's a new little shop that's coming into town. It's a yoga studio, which is regular yoga and aerial yoga, and that's going to be called Elevated Yoga. It's right beside the old Cherry Berry store, so it's right across the parking lot from Shopko. So Elevated Yoga by Livia.
All right, and that'll be coming when? When will that be opened up?
September-ish. We
right.
just signed papers, and it's coming. We're doing the contractor work right now. So.
Okay, well that sounds great. Yes, yes.
It's interesting.
So we'll and I'm sure we'll be able to get more information, and I can share that on my show too once you've got that started. Well,
Are you going to go in the swings with her with the silks? I would love to see that one.
Well, we are almost out of time here, but I do want to thank you for coming in.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You just prepared two great dishes. I will have the recipes, because it's very rare that I get recipes from Chef Chance, because as it says down here on the bottom, and as you saw, he just kind of puts things together, but they always come out fantastic.
Somehow.
He just has that natural knack that he can put that together. So we'll have that for you if you want to follow along on a recipe. Maybe you just want to throw some things together like Chef Chance does, and maybe that's your form of cooking. That's great too. So we'll have both of those recipes on the website. And again, you can go back and look at dailydodge.com, click on the video tab, and you'll be able to watch the whole thing again, or just fast forward until you find the parts where you really want to look at some of the techniques that Chef Chance shared. So thanks again for coming in.
Oh, my pleasure.
For the
Thank
beautiful watermelon carvings. You always amaze me with them.
Thank you.
They're too beautiful to eat. We just are going to sit and look at them. But I am going to eat the pineapple salsa and try the bruschetta, because that looks really good. So again, we'll send it back to you, John Kraft. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we look forward to more local dishes with Chef Chance in the future.
Of course.